The Pittsburgh Pirates blown out at home by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Not going to spend too much time on this one. I didn't see the game. If you didn't know, if you hadn't seen, I'm in Greensboro. I was in Greensboro Tuesday night. Wanted to come down and get a look at Seth Hernandez, so drove down. Got a chance to see him. Got a chance to see Eli Willis. For regular prospect fans, he was the first overall pick in this past year's draft. He was promoted going into this week, so got to see him his first chance at high A. Got to see a little bit more of Murph Gray. Got to see Edward Florentino for the first time, but the main reason I was down here was to see Seth Hernandez. Got video on him. Going to be doing a kind of like a scouting ish type of write up for one of our paid features later this week. So if you're not a paid member, now's a good time to go ahead and grab that. You get our prospect rankings, you get player features, video breakdowns, live Q&A. I'll probably do a live Q&A the beginning of next week, kind of go over some things with the Dominican going on, the complex league, a lot of baseball going on. So a lot to go over. But like I said, Pirates lose 12-3. Paul Skenes looks like he had a pretty good game. 6 innings pitched, gave up the 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. Bullpen comes in, and we know this. Like, I've only been back kind of doing these on a daily basis for like a week now, and it feels like over half of them have involved in something to do with the bullpen. A little bit different tonight because it was Wilbur Dotel. Wilbur Dotel has been fantastic out of the bullpen so far. He implodes, gives up 6 runs, doesn't record an out. Brandon Bidwell comes in after him, also struggles. A little bit of defense behind him, kind of adds to that. Most of his runs were unearned. Offense doesn't get much going. They get a solo home run from Reynolds and O'Hearn. Marcelo Zuna goes 1 for 4 with an RBI. Like I said, not going to spend too much on this game, especially since I didn't really have a chance to watch any of it. I'll probably go through watch like the condensed game at some point. Um, Maybe. And then the next matchup, we're going to see Jared Jones and Shohei Ohtani. That should be pretty fun. Jones looking to build off a solid game last time up. Ohtani has been fantastic this year on the mound. So that'll be a fun, interesting pitching matchup. We didn't quite get to see Ohtani versus Skeens, which I'm sure everyone wanted to see, but Jones and Ohtani should still be plenty of fun. We'll do a quick rundown. The bulk of the show, I think, is going to be. Well, I'll give some quick teases and notes on the Seth Hernandez start, and then the bulk of it's going to be talking about some of the promotions. We had mass roster shuffling throughout the system, so kind of get everyone caught up on that. Some interesting moves, some things that I'm watching, that kind of stuff. AAA, their game was shortened due to rain. They lose 9-4. Esmeralda Valdez 2 for 2, double, home run, 3 RBI. Billy Cook 1 for 2, 2 runs scored and a walk. Tamar Johnson 1 for 2, a walk, stolen base. Down in AA, they also lose. They're playing Chesapeake this week. They're back home in Altoona. They lose 11-4. Deuce Gorson 2 for 4, run, RBI, walk, and a stolen base. Titus Dimitru still running a little hot here. He went 2 for 5 with a triple and RBI, run scored. Javi Rivas went 3 for 5 with the run. Ivan Breithauer, 2 for 5 with 2 doubles. Greensboro, game I was at, they win 7-5. Easton Carmichael goes 2 for 5 and RBI. Josh Tate, one of the promotions, came up from Bradenton. He went 1 for 3 with a home run, 2 RBIs. Brian Sanchez went 1 for 2, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a double. Johnny Severino 1 for 3 with a double, 2 RBIs, and a walk. Bradenton, Braylon Brazaban, one of the call ups, 2 for 4 with an RBI, Hong Sung Lee, 1 for 3, 2 runs, a home run, his first in single A. Ripped it right center, uh, over the wall. Really well hit. I think it had like a 102 exit velocity on it. Uh, Down in the complex, they lose 10-6. Johan De Los Santos, 1 for 2, 3 runs, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Kind of feeling it. We saw Lee come up, browser bands up. Um, Kind of feel like we were getting to the point to where like Johan isn't accomplishing much in the complex. I think there's a lot of walks there, and yeah, the bat the balls and the plate discipline kind of the thing. But I don't think there's an for someone with his level of plate discipline, the lack of strike throwing, I guess you can say, it's a better way of putting it, really isn't going to do him too good down there in the complex. Frederick Ovalle, he went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a stolen base. Edgar Walker, 2 for 3. Down in the Dominican, Yoander Santana, he went 2 for 3 with the home run, 4 runs scored. Gilbert Ramirez, he's a new signing, 3 for 3 with 2 walks and a double. Alex Pio, he went 1 for 3 with a 2 RBI and a walk. Oscar Borges, he's another new signing, 2 for 2 with a double. Wednesday, no complex league, no Dominican League team. They're off on Wednesday and Sundays, so it'll just be the full season affiliates. Much quicker to run down. But getting into some of these roster transactions, I'm gonna spit a lot at you, and then we'll kind of go through some of the highlights, some of the stuff that I'm watching with it. Moving up to AAA, Derek Berg, Derek Diamond, Jaden Woods, Christian Curtis, Connor Delgado. Moving to Altoona, Brandon Neek, Jared Bayless, they go from Indianapolis down to Altoona to cover for the guys that moved up to Indy. Carlos Caro and Shalene Polanco, hitters moving from Greensboro to Altoona. Connor Oliver, we got late word on him the other day that he was moving up. He moves up to Altoona from Greensboro as well. Going to High A, Josh Tate, which I already mentioned. Jesus Castillo, he's starting a rehab assignment there, and then Sammy Staforo gets activated off the injured list. Low A, we already talked about Bradsbane, and then Jack Brannigan, he goes from the complex to low A on his rehab assignment. Couple IL, Axial Plaza, he hasn't played since May 26th. He was, as far as the transaction log, put on the injured list. He hasn't played in 2 weeks, and I did see him. He was like the bullpen catcher, so like maybe even if he isn't quite ready for game action, he's at least doing stuff and everything like that. So I mean, I guess that has to be somewhat of a good sign. And then Jared Jones, Bear Jones, on Greensboro, he's also placed on the injured list as well. And he's having a really good start to the year, hitting for much better average. Um, and then, the power is still kind of his calling card. But looking at some of these promotions, mainly the guys going to AAA, I feel like that's where things, I already talked about Christian Curtis. Christian Curtis, one of my favorite arms in the system, one of the better pitching prospects in the system. Um, Maybe the results haven't quite translated to how he's performed. So we'll kind of see how he does in AAA. I love him being in AAA. I do think, depending how things go, he is Rule 5 eligible at the end of the season. So maybe you see a scenario to where, you've seen all this issues the Pirates are having with the bullpen. Maybe he can be an option at some point in the year. You kind of want him to keep developing as a starting pitcher, so you kind of that go as long as possible. But I mean, if things keep heading the way that they are with the bullpen, you're going to have to find a way to get creative here. One guy who I think really can be, and I think I mentioned the other day, hoping that he would get a shot, and we didn't know it until like all the roster moves came out and stuff like that. But Derek Diamond was also promoted. He's off to a fantastic start this year. Missed some time with injury. He's missed quite a bit of time with the injury, but ever since he's made that move to the bullpen, he's kind of been lights out when he's been healthy. Fastball up to like 98, slider, changeup. Jaden Woods, he's one of my like personal like I really liked him in the draft. Kind of be interesting to see. He pitched on Tuesday, didn't really go too well. We'll see how he adjusts to the AAA level. Connor Delgado, I kind of feel like quietly he's been having like a really solid season, and you kind of line his numbers up with some of the other guys in Altoona. And like, I mean, he's hitting 240, 369, 365, three home runs, seven stolen bases. He has as many walks as he does strikeouts. So 102 WRC plus. So not really, much better than league average, but the plate discipline's there. I still want to believe that he's a guy who is kind of like a candidate to stop the switch hitting, because like there's some sneaky power on the left side, not really much on the right side. It has hit a home run this year from the right side, so he's showing a little bit more power there than he had previous year. Last year, he didn't hit a home run at all from the right side. Didn't have an extra base at all from the right side. It'd be interesting kind of see to get some exit velocity numbers. I don't know how long he's going to be up there. I don't know if he's just kind of covering for somebody. Um, like we're seeing, Derek Berg. It looks like he's up. Because Rafael Flores is up in Pittsburgh on the taxi squad. It kind of sounds like they're expecting Henry Davis to go on the paternity leave list at any moment. So they have a catcher up. So the Indy squad needs an extra catcher. Down in Double A, Carlos Caro, he's always been like one of those, like he's super fast. I think here at the site there was some that was kind of pushing to maybe see him in center field some, which I think we saw a couple games there. Hitting for a little bit of power this year. Feel like some of that is like Greensboro related. He did hit one in Bradenton while I was down there, and he got a hold of it pretty well. Connor Oliver is having a pretty solid season. It's one of those funny things to where like he's been pitching well, and then like his last outing before he gets promoted, he kind of gets blown up. So some interesting roster moves. Brazoban, I saw him hit a home run while I was down in Bradenton. It's like 110 mile per hour exit velocity. He cranked it. It was smoked, and so it's good to see him getting a shot. The strikeouts were still kind of high at the complex, but you could kind of tell like he was making some really solid contact, and there's some speed there. There's some tools there. We'll see if he can kind of get the strikeouts under control. And he was a big bonus guy too, so you kind of want to maybe see the Pirates get a little aggressive with their placement and everything like that. One more injured list. It looks like Ronnie White Jr. hit the injured list, which sucks, which is unfortunate. He's had some strings of injuries in his career that's kind of slowed him down, held him back, and he was finally having kind of putting it together. There's still, the strikeouts and the contact and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say I was completely sold on him, but I was definitely kind of like interested to see how the rest of the season plays out. So we'll see how long he's out here, and hopefully it's not too long and he gets back on the field. Maybe like a quick little last thing I'll talk about real quick. A little bit of a rundown of the Seth Hernandez start. I mean, this stuff is there, and I feel like if you go and read Eric Longenhagen's write up on him, I think Seth is definitely being helped out because the secondary stuff is definitely advanced. It's advanced enough to where like a lot of these hitters in the lower levels haven't seen stuff like this. So they're chasing, they're swinging and missing and stuff like that. I think there's some refinement that needs to be made as far as the control and the command, especially with the fastball. The fastball is pretty hittable. I'd have to go back and double check, but I would have to believe, if not all of them, a good amount of the hits that he allowed last night, including the home run, were all fastballs. So, but I mean, you could see it there. You could see, I've mentioned in the 10 observations, I'm not overly concerned about the control and command stuff and all that. I like the delivery. The delivery is smooth, repeatable. He's a very athletic player. So I'd be willing to bet that things kind of get ironed out. Like I said, I have a little bit of a breakdown. I want to do like a actual like video over on YouTube and all that as well on the Seth Hernandez start and stuff like that. So be on the lookout on that. Subscribe, Bucks on deck. Like I said, daily content on the Pirates. Gonna have some, we have a weekly recap on the stuff that's going on down in Bradenton. Wilbur does a fantastic job with that. I took care of that this week. So this week in Bradenton, I did that. We'll have some other features throughout the week. Daily contact, subscribe. We have monthly and yearly options. You save a little bit on the yearly option, of course. But until next time, I'll be recording. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I might sneak here and hang out another day to catch another game. But I won't be here the whole week. But we'll still have episodes every day while I am here. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time.